see here. Everything's up and running. Alright. Should be moving smoothly enough. Alright. Alright. And we are back to Wrath of the Righteous. I'm looking for Aranka. But aside from that, I'm going to say hello to a few individuals. Let's see, talk to a few new NPCs that have come by. It's not Hilor. This guy. Let's see. I guess I didn't save it, but I did actually talk to him already about the corruption. But I didn't ask this. Who are you? Show me what you're selling. Bulk selling. Forest. Club with nails. Pretty simple stuff. Let's see. Plus my Flying X. Get rid of that. Sell all this. This guy sells a lot of scrolls, which could be useful for Nenio. The problem is I have no idea how we get started with what scrolls to give her. Alright, who are you? Are you alright? Abadar willing will hold out until the army arrives. Who are you? Viscely Raphamus, rector of the local temple of Abadar. The temple is gone, though. And if we snooze here for much longer, the city will be lost as well. Who is that boy with you? This one? Kiado, the shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy, and his faith is strong. He serves Erastil, though. But there's still something he can learn from an old servant of Abadar. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. What kind of help can I expect from you? First, I sell scrolls. I have a lot of them, something for every emergency. Second, while you're here in the tavern, I can read one for you. Guaranteed, no surprises. But you'd better not go into the city without a cleric. I won't be going there myself. I'm too old, and my powers are needed here. Tell me again about the Abyss's corruption. As you know... Oh, yeah, he just repeats what it said. Alright. That's it. May Abadar aid you. Right. Last playthrough, I did not save what I did. Talk to Ninia. Boy, am I pleased with you. I asked you to bring me to safety, and that's exactly what you did. Indeed, having a follower to aid me is most efficient and, frankly, pleasing. With you on hand, I shall conquer new horizons, plumb the depths of knowledge hitherto unknown, and scale the dizzying heights of future discoveries. Ninio stops to catch her breath. What I mean is, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude. I foresee immense potential in our future cooperation. Let's see. Yeah. Happy to help. Hand in hand, we will unravel the greatest mysteries inaccessible to the minds of ordinary people. Just imagine it. I leading the way, proudly staring into the face of the gods themselves, and you, my loyal follower, walking behind me every step of the way, writing down my deepest thoughts and admiring the profundity of my intellect. If we hold hands, you won't be able to go in front of me and lead the way. You are the catalyst which, when it reacts with my intellect, will allow the latter to grasp the very essence of the universe itself. Do you always express your delight so effusively? What? Who are you? Ninio stares at you for a while, bewilderment in her eyes, but then it is replaced by recognition. Oh yes, my new follower. So what am I supposed to do? Oh yes, I must provide some verbal encouragement for your as yet modest achievements, and try to induce you to strive for more of such encouragement. That is the principle that underpins any training. She frowns, but only for an instant. I see. Your modest nature is unsettled by the overabundance of my gratitude. I do apologize for putting you in such an awkward position. I will never praise you again unless I forget. But let's get back to the business at hand. Your new assignment will be to take me to the inconspicuous ruins that are located in an even more inconspicuous valley lying between Canabras and Dresden. As soon as it is reasonably practical. I'll mark the place on your map with a large red cross, so you won't forget it. Nameless ruins has been revealed. What's so special about these ruins near Canabras? I'm glad you asked. This is my greatest hypothesis, my secret project, and I won't pass up the opportunity to share it with you, because you are my most loyal follower, and you are worthy of possessing such knowledge. Ninio rubs her nose. And also because you are the first person to ever ask about it. Some time ago, I was walking around the border of the world wound, and I met a strange person. He was wearing a frayed gray robe, and his face was hidden behind an old white mask. Of course, I didn't miss the opportunity to ask him about the reason for his absurd appearance. And do you know what he said to me? He said, "I am the answer, but what is the question?" Then he walked off in the direction of the world wound. The next day, after I had already forgotten about the first encounter, I had another similar encounter. This time I met an elven woman, judging by the pointy ears sticking out from behind the mask. "I am the answer, but what is the question?" she said, before taking off toward the world room. And then I realized everything became clear to me. I know a mystery when I see one. Consider this one of my myriad talents. Ninio rubs the tip of her nose. After all these geysers weren't simply on their way to a costume party, were they? After examining several maps, I determined that they were all heading in one direction, to a place not far from Canabris, a place which is mapped as nameless ruins, even on ancient Sarkorian maps. That's where I need to go. Unraveling the secret of that place will be my greatest discovery. It will secure my place in history, or perhaps even in legend. How do you know where we have to go? Do you know how to find a beehive in a forest? You need to catch 2 bees, set them free in 2 different locations of the forest, and remember the directions they fly in. Then you take a map and draw lines showing the bees' routes. The place where the lines intersect will mark the location of the beehive. Fascinating, yes? By the way, forest bees do not make any honey. Ninio sighs. I used the beehive principle here too. For a couple of months I tracked the strange people in the masks and observed the direction in which they were traveling. I collected the coordinates, mapped their estimated routes, and made a discovery. All the routes intersected at the nameless ruins not far from Canabris. What do you expect to find there? I haven't the slightest idea. If I knew what was hidden there, I wouldn't be so eager to go. These ruins aren't very far from Canabris. You could easily get there all by yourself. Why do you need me? Ninio's eyes seem ready to pop out of their sockets in surprise. Don't you see? This is a legendary secret place. Who knows what may happen to me if I lift the veil and uncover the workings of the universe. My mortal body may be unable to contain all that knowledge, or perhaps I will ascend and become equal to the gods themselves. I need you to write down everything that happens and report my fate to the interested parties in Absalom. And don't forget to praise me as I deserve while you're there. You know, these ruins of yours may turn out to be just that, ruins. Ninio shrugs. In that case, we'll write this experiment off as a failure and start another one. I don't know which experiment I'll try next. That's all I wanted to know about your task. Well, now you know. So off we go, Ninio frowns. Alright. Ninio frowns. Did I just make a rhyme? Perhaps I've discovered poetic talent in myself. Let's conduct an experiment. Quickly say any word and I'll try to find a rhyme for it right away. Where's orange? No. Creation, Almaday, science, whatever. Almaday. Say Discari, go away. Alright. If you play, you need to pay. Every shade of color gray. Not the best rhymes, don't you think? Well, this experiment was unsuccessful. We learned that I have no poetic talent after all. Ninio sighs. But it's no reason to despair. Having a gift of poetry in addition to my inexhaustible intelligence would have been a little too much. Besides, I am catastrophically busy. and have no time to spend on writing poetry. I like it when you call me boy. My name is Louis. On the grand scale of the world, your name is irrelevant. No reason to remember it. You see, the brain of any given individual can contain only a limited amount of facts. I only expend my memory on things that are truly important. The laws of thermodynamics, divine esoterica, planar geography, things that will lead Galarian to a brighter future. Ninio rubs her nose. Besides, what if I make a great discovery, but I won't be able to remember it because my memory is full of outdated or useless information? What a nightmare that would be. What a loss for the whole of Galarian. But you do remember your own name, right? Only so I know what to put for the author's name in my encyclopedia. Are there any names worth remembering? There are, and to my deepest regret, there are too many of them. Ninios heaves a sigh that would befit a grief-stricken old man. The names of gods and demigods, the names of rulers, conquerors, and other persons, by some reason deemed great by the people of Golarion. They etched their names into history, and, alas, every self-respecting educated person must know them. But there are some names I am happy to remember. Great scientists, some of them divine, others mortal, true keepers of knowledge, and great experimentalists. The pioneers of knowledge, Aurori, Nephthys, Aurilu, Vorlesh. Aurilu Vorlesh opened the world wound. She's the betrayer of humanity. It's her fault the demons invaded Galarian. Oh yes, she is the greatest of the greatest. Just imagine, she managed to open a rift from Galarian to the Abyss. No one knew how. No one believed it possible. No one even dreamed of such a thing. And she just did it. It was the experiment of the century. Ninio wipes a tear from her eyes. I would have been so happy if I could have been in her place. Of course, some part of Galarian's population died as a result of her experiment, and the Crusaders are still wrestling with its consequences to this day. But the very essence of what Aurilu managed to do was a breakthrough of cosmic significance, both figuratively and literally. Sooner or later, the world wound will be closed. Peace will return to Galarian. As for the victims of the ongoing war, they will be remembered as unfortunate but unavoidable sacrifices made at the altar of science. That's an interesting way to look at things, though I'm not sure the Crusaders would agree with you. Ninio blinks at you perplexed. Were we talking about something? So, she's got memory issues? I'd say she's crazy. Alright, let's see. Neutral my foot. Alright, let's see. Tell me about yourself. I am an explorer, a pilgrim, a yet-to-be-recognized scientific luminary, future author of the Encyclopedia Golarianica, and rector of all Absalom's universities at once. Future rector, I should say. Ninio speaks in one breath, as if reeling off a practiced monologue. That information should be enough to satisfy your curiosity, because I doubt I would be able to tell you more than that. Where are you from? That information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. How did you become a scientist? That information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. You have a circle tattooed on your shoulder. What does it mean? Ninio casts a sidelong glance at her shoulder. Oh, that. I do not remember the circumstances of its creation, but I like it. I prefer to think of it as a zero, null, nothing. A center point, an origin of coordinates. It reminds me how much of the unknown the world there is to explore. Don't you remember how you got this tattoo? That information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. Okay, how can you just decide to forget important pieces of information? This is just one of my many talents. The secret is to stop thinking about the things you want to forget. And the main thing is not to remember anything you don't need, to filter it, to get right to the essence. I'll teach you someday, unless I forget. Ew. What is this encyclopedia you're working on? The Encyclopedia Galerianica will be published in 100 volumes, 1,000 pages each, plus the author's addenda, appendices added by future co-authors, and critical commentaries. Addenda indexation is still in question. Ninio looks slightly embarrassed. I just like the number 100, but I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep within the established world limit. It will be a magisterial piece of scholarship that will become a part of the mandatory curriculum of every educational institution worth mentioning. In it, I intend to describe every object, item, event, face, and personality that is present on or at least somehow related to Galarian. My calculations show that I have completed no more than 1% of this monumental book. Do you remember your parents, your past, or is that all irrelevant too? All of it is irrelevant on the grand scale of world history. I have no reason to remember such things. When you're saying this, you're out of your mind. Forgetting your origin, knowing nothing about who you are and where you're from, that's terrible. I admire the capabilities of your memory. No. Knowing nothing about who you are and where you came from. At some point. I don't know. Sure, I admire the capabilities of your memory. Ninio stays silent and gives you a puzzled look. What? What were we talking about? Yeah, I thought so. I'll stop torturing you with questions for now. Eh? What were we talking about? I'd like to clarify a few things about your new task. Your craving for knowledge will be immediately satisfied. Ask away. Oh, looks like I asked everything already. So, If you have any other questions, just ask. Right? Have to go. Ninia produces a crumpled piece of paper from her sleeve and takes some notes on it. This conversation lasted approximately 5 minutes. She lifts her chin. By the way, did you know that that is the exact same amount of time the Inquisitors of Canabras need to find a defendant guilty? But to shake off Inquisitors chasing you takes 5 times as long. That experiment proved that running while clad in heavy armor is not burdensome for them at all. Alright. Ember. The elf in front of you is young, still an adolescent by the standards of their long-lived folk. A childish, carefree smile plays on her face, and her wandering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. Terrible scars cover her body, and a few of her fingers are missing. A crow sits on her shoulder, observing you with its clever black eyes. Tell me about yourself. Well, they call me Ember. I used to live in the River City. Now I walk with you. That's my story. Canabras. Why do they call you Ember? I've had many names. When I was little, Mom and Dad called me Dove, or Cricket, or Kitten. Dad called me his ray of sunshine, and when my mom was cross, she called me by a long name, a grown-up one. I can't remember it, no matter how hard I try. Then, when I came to live in the River City, the good people called me different funny names, like Ember or Torch or Smoky. I don't know why. They called me Bird Brain because I have a crow. They called me Lucky 7 because of my fingers. The girl raises her hands, the middle finger on her right hand and the 2 smaller fingers on her left are missing. They sometimes called me grilled meat and said I was stupid, but I didn't feel hurt. I mean, they're right. I really am silly. They didn't mean to hurt me. I like Ember. It's a good word. Embers are like people. On the outside, they're gray and cold like stones, but they're warm inside. You can blow on them and they'll start a fire to help you survive a cold night. And that's wonderful, isn't it? Ember it is. Alright. The mic's working, right? Yep. Alright. Where are you from? Far away, from the flower country. The girl gestures vaguely off into the distance. It's so beautiful there. Everywhere there's flowers blooming, golden towers, and waterfalls. And everyone is like me, with pointy ears. There's no round-eared people, no short ones, no horned heads. We lived there together, me and Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad argued a lot. Dad used to say that all the good people should go on the crusade and fight the demons, and Mom said he was silly because it was so far away and none of our business. and that he shouldn't abandon his child. She meant me. But he didn't abandon me. He took me along. He said I was born the same year that the hole to the demon world opened. He said it was a sign that I would be one of the heroes who close it. Of course, I'm not a hero, but I'm here anyway, helping as much as I can. That counts as a hero. Alright. Where did you get your scars? It happened by accident. My dad and I came sailing down the river to join the Crusades. Dad said that all the good people were going to the World Room to heal it. He said that the Crusaders were the best people in the world, and together we were going to win. But when we arrived at the river city, the Crusaders got everything mixed up. They thought my dad and I were bad and decided to burn us at the stake. Dad died and I cried so loudly that one good night realized it was all a big mistake. He started yelling at the other Crusaders, even the one in charge, and then walked right into the fire and got me out. The others wanted to stop him, but he took out his sword and scared them away. The kind knight took me to a healer. I later learned that while the knight was pulling me from the flames, he himself was burned so badly that he died not long after. But I'm still alive. A few fingers missing, and my skin is funny. I've lived in the River City ever since. I never had my own house, but I had many friends. And then the demons came and I met you. And you know what happened after that. Lynch mob call themselves Crusaders? For shame. Is it really so easy for you to forgive them? I'm not sure I could be so merciful. Stories. Chaotic. They must have thought they were doing something lawful and just. That's what happens when people let the law do their thinking for them instead of their conscience. I think I'll go for the lawful. And that lynch mob called themselves Crusaders? For shame. People always call themselves pretty words, as if calling oneself a paladin or a commander is enough to stop you from being a poor frightened sinner. The girl shrugs and smiles, but there was one true knight there, and the others came to their senses at last. Do you worship any deity? The girl shakes her head with an unfailing smile. Dad taught me to pray to Iomade. He said she was a kind goddess and she called people to crusade against evil. The knights who burned my dad and me worshipped her too. They even lit the fire with a prayer to her, and she did nothing to help us. But then one kind knight, alone, without any gods, changed his mind and saved me. I think the gods are the same as us. They don't understand anything, and they're scared of everything, so they hurt themselves and the rest of us. People worship the gods only because they're afraid of being responsible for themselves. And the gods listen to the praise, and they become smug and arrogant, and begin to believe that they're better than us. but they're no better. They're silly sinners just like the rest of us. Sometimes I pray to the gods, different ones, the good ones, the bad ones. I ask them to stop. Stop fighting and hurting each other. I don't know if they ever hear me, but if they do, I mean the knight who wanted to burn me, he was able to change his mind and do a good deed. If he can change, maybe Baphomet can. Or Baphomet can too. Alright. Okay. This is a little unexpected, but I'm going to stop. Yeah, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop after Ember. How did you survive on the streets? Oop. Okay. The elf shrugs. There are many good people in... Oh, hold on. Let me check to see if the mic's up. Alright. Alright. Yep. There are many good people in the River City. When I sang for them in the street, they'd often give me coins, or bread, or sometimes even clothes. I shared everything with the other homeless, and they showed me where it's safe to sleep, where I could get out of the rain and cold, where I could find discarded things. When the demons destroyed the River City, I looked for my friends, but I found no one. They probably all died. The homeless have no supplies or weapons or basements to hide in, and the knights won't protect them either. Knights are like gods, so self-important. They're saving the world after all. Why do they care about the homeless? Still smiling, the girl shrugs. Where do your magical powers come from? These tricks? I have them from my grandma. Let's see. She used to be my father's grandma, and before that, his father's. I've never seen her myself, but she's very clever and kind. When I lived on the street, sometimes she left food for me or a blanket in the winter. Sometimes I felt her stroking my hair as I fall asleep. Before I open my eyes, there's no one there. She also sent me soot. The girl scratches the crow's beak and the bird grumbles happily in response. She tells Soot how to do different tricks, and Soot teaches me. Succeeded a lore religion check. It appears that the girl doesn't know who exactly gives her these powers, but you can guess from her words that her patron is Andaletta, a powerful archon, one of the Imperial Lords, also known as Grandmother Crow. Thank you for your answers. Oh, not at all. I didn't really tell you anything. I have to. No. You're always so cheerful. How do you manage to remain so hopeful when we're surrounded by such horror? Hope? The girl tilts her head and continues with a smile. No, hope is a lie. What should we hope for? This world is in the hands of demons. The gods can't help, or they don't want to. Or they forgot about us altogether. The people know they're about to be eaten by demons, but still they quarrel with each other and fight and steal, there's no hope, only us. We'll have to win without hope. It will be hard. The entire abyss is against us. We can only win by some miracle, which means we'll have to make one happen. What other choice do we have? We'll work we'll work a miracle and win. Because we have to. The elf smiles broadly and nods to herself. Alright. I need you and my probably go away. I have to go. So go. The elf watches you with a radiant smile and sleep. Alright. That's that. Alright, like I said, once I was done with talking to both of those two, I was going to call it for tonight. Alright, today all we did was get through some dialogue, so the next upload can be straight into the action. Alright. And thanks for stopping by, those who did. I'm surprised someone actually did, considering how late it is. But yeah. Be on tomorrow, and until then, take care.